Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the state of sniping after my little sniping challenge in the first week of rank reset. So let's just jump into it. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I am HissingThoughts Gaming. I'm a below average player. Above average potato moments of comedy gold. You may have seen me sporting 10 separate loadouts of Manowar last season in Jokester streams. And last season, I died a bit to snipers. And snipers were pretty OP. Everyone was losing their minds over a 3-shot meta with the Manowar, the DRH, the ASM-10, followed closely by some OP 4-shot weapons. But actually, the 1-shot meta was what stood out for me, the snipers. And you knew there was an issue with an imbalance with the game when you got into ranked at some point for a stretch of time, and it was not feasible to see 5 opponents all rocking snipers. At that point, you knew the game had an issue. There was a suspicion that the devs who took over from Tencent for Activision were sniper fans, and that's the game style that they like to play. And after I died one time too many, I said if this continued into this new season, I was gonna join them and start sniping. And so we had a rebalance of certain weapons, including snipers, for the current season. And with a buff in SMGs, it's certainly a lot easier to counter snipers, but I was still dying enough. And I thought, here we go. With rank resetting, I'm gonna do the thing that I said I was gonna do. And so what did I do? I did a sniping challenge for 10 days, which covered the first week of rank reset, the sweatiest week there is, as everyone's trying to run back to legendary. And it also covered the first weekend of qualifiers for the World Championships. So I was going to be stuck using a sniper for that as well. I considered myself okay with a sniper in pub matches. I had no confidence in using it in rank, really. I did have some regrets last season when at the all is lost moment in a ranked game, and there's a lot of snipers on the opposition, I would pull out mine, and that's when I discovered that the opposition snipers weren't actually that good, and my regret was that I didn't bring it out at the start. I paired the sniper gun with a secondary of a knife, so that would limit me, or axe, so that would limit me even further. But also melees, like a year ago, I used to use them, and it was a lot of fun. So it was a challenge in 2 parts, and then there was an extra layer which I would stream every single ranked game, which was a whole separate thing designed to give me build up my streaming competency as well. But anyway, back to the snipers. You know, it was kind of a if you can't beat them, join them moment. I'd always wanted to snipe actually. But I'd been scared off it somewhat. The times I had tried in the earlier days of ranked, when you're a liability to your teammates, it's not especially welcome. But this was my attempt to either get good with a sniper rifle or learn some stuff that might help me counter them. And this is what I found. So the first area, yes, sniping has been nerfed. So again, you knew something was broken in the game when you had people being able to be aggressive with snipers and out ADS SMG users, aggressive SMG users. And so this is a DLQ. It is set up for fastest ADS, and that's what you're looking at. Now, the other thing, counterpart to sniping, that's made sniping harder is the hit flinch is massive now. So if someone is shooting at you, you get your shake basically. You're also a little bit paralyzed in the movements, which makes it a lot easier for SMG, any user, any opponent basically, to take you out. Now that means one of two things. If you have a gun that has granulated grip tape on it, like this one here can do, the Arctic, the granulated reduces hit flinch quite dramatically. But what happens is your ADS speed goes down a little bit slower. You can also run toughness here, reduces flinch when being shot by 60%. That's massif. So there it is there, granulated minus 25. That combined with the other makes your shooting a lot more stable. And that stability was there previously, it's not now. So that's a nerf, faux shores. The ADS reduction used to be able to build the games for speed because they didn't suffer from bullet spread accuracy. These have taken a little bit of a hit as well. Notably, the OWC laser. It is only, in this gun here, minus 3% ADS speed time. Hardly even worth it. You know, you might want to consider and a tiny reduction in sprint to fire. So it's almost not worth using. So what is the impact of that on noob snipers, new snipers trying to get into the sniping industry? It means there is a skill gap basically. So you can't just pick this up and dominate the field basically, like we saw in some cases last season. That's a good thing. For experienced snipers, not really a nerf from what I've seen. Encountering them in the opposition or talking to them in the community, because the experienced snipers have a bunch of skills basically. A certain set of skills that still make them deadly. Okay, so we've talked about the things required to counter the flinch. You can still build your gun for the fastest ADS. It's not as fast as what it was before, but it's still fine. I used to use ADS to fire. That's now on hip fire, but basically what it meant is when I pushed the shoot button here, it would ADS in like that, and then it would fire when you released it. I learned through this experience that to use the scope button. So during this, I was playing around with the positioning of this. There were issues where if I'm using two, it was dragging down slightly, but again, it's just an adjustment thing. But if you scope in and then fire, so you can time it, and you know that's still pretty fast. Now, I have changed this ADS scope from tap to hold. So normally you'd tap it and it would go in like this. You'd fire, and then then it would still be scoped in. You'd have to tap it to release. So this is now hold to ADS. So when I release it, it comes out. So which means you can. That's pretty fast. You just got to make sure your crosshair placement is there. And just get your timing right. If you shoot too fast, then it's sort of like blank scope, I guess. I encountered a bunch of hit markers along the way. I had seen content creators doing videos about no hit marker or hit marker free loadouts, which made me think that they had experienced an increase in hit markers as well. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I experienced them as a non-sniper trying to learn. It could have just been that my shots weren't accurate. That if you shoot below the belly button, there's 90. That's not an instant kill. You need to be above. So there's times I swore I was, but got hit markers, and other times where I fired and I swore that it was. So it's just showing you the 90. Yeah, and you're getting nothing. So yeah, my recommendation is if you do want to get into sniping, well, for starters, I wouldn't do it in rank to start with. Just start in pub matches, and you can progress and get into your shipment hard point. Just get something that's a lot of close action and so on. there's that. If you want to start, my advice is not to do it in rank. Consider this method. If you're hard scoping, you could probably jiggle. You know, you could hold it around, I guess. I don't know. Okay, and then heartbeat monitor is a thing now. So in SND, it gets used a lot. The only counter is, the counter is Ghost. Now with snipers, as I've said, if there's flinch as a factor, you kind of need this, which limits you. Some will recommend using Agile. The testing that Path from the research community didn't suggest that this did a heck of a lot anyway. Your aim time after sprinting is reduced. For me, because I was pairing it with the knife, lightweight was better. And Ghost, I mean, flinch is only an issue if you don't kill them first. So as you get better with sniping, like a good sniper, I don't know, I don't feel that that's necessarily an issue. But that's a consideration. So, there's a bunch of parts to being, okay with a sniper. One is obviously your accuracy. The other one is the draw, being able to get them first before they get you now post nerf. But there's also movement. There's movement considerations to learn, which is my next phase, I guess. There's also the map knowledge. The game knowledge is a bit different as a sniper versus an SMG user or an AR main user. There's certain spots on the map that your opponent's snipers are going to know about. And so if you use, if you just act like a regular AR user or whatever, you'll get sniped out of existence. So learning those spots, the run routes and all of that are another component to this. And again, that comes back to what I say about, versus experienced snipers. What I have encountered is, some of the other noob snipers, a lot of hard scoping. So that's just standing literally in one place, holding a long avenue or corridor and just keeping the scope in. And you could flank them pretty easily once you knew they were there. So that's it in a nutshell, basically. I dedicated to 10 days. So it covered the first week of sniping plus the first bit of the World Championships. It went better than I thought it would, even though it was a struggle at bits. I definitely learned things. I learned that I'm terrible up close with a sniper, but I only encountered that in a 1v1 situation, as in a 1v1 test against a friend. In actual ranked gameplay, it really wasn't too much of an issue. Also, I could swap to an axe, swap to a melee to counter that. But still something for me to work on. So I think for what the nerf achieved in stopping someone that had no experience at sniping really, just picking one up and abusing the one-shot meta, I think that's been largely dealt to. If you're doing that now as a noob, you need to spend some time coming to grips with some of the basics and countering some of the issues that have come in. For an experienced sniper, which I'm seeing at least one on the field each time, so they still exist. I'm gaining more knowledge though, which will help in countering them as well. A lot of the games I do now, I start sniping. So even though my 10 days is over, I'm still committed to learning as much as I can about this particular gun art, as well as the melee side of things. And so I'm going to continue with it. A big thank you to those that are still sniping this season. Some of them are very experienced, have only ever been sniping, and sharing their knowledge with me, their tips. Don't really have any opinion on what the best sniper gun is, because I started with the Arctic, used that for most of the challenge, and that worked quite well for me. Then I did try the Locust as well. That was absolutely fine. The DLQ I then fell more in love with, liked that. And then at the end I used the Outlaw here, which is more of a rush gun. It actually was surprising. It's quite good. But at this stage, I don't know, you can probably pick any one of them and make them all right. Marksman is meant to be the wave. People are talking about that as the new aggressive running. Well, it's not they don't technically have it under the sniping area. It's here under Marksman. I didn't really bond with any of these. I tried the MK2. I tried these three here, SKSUs last season, but it's more of a spammable. Some people have been swearing by them. I just didn't vibe with me. I preferred the snipers. But I just want to acknowledge that there is a passionate sniping community out there. They are protective of any nerfs, just like to their art, just like anybody else's with their favorite gun. And I think it's easy to say sometimes that sniping there's no skill involved. It's easy to say that when you're frustrated on the receiving end of the bullet, basically, because it seems unfair. I can concede that actually to get good at sniping is just like anything else. You need to dedicate to it and spend a lot of time working on what's required, and also the failings that you have are potential learnings. You do not get that out of doing 10 days of sniping challenge. It's an ongoing process. So it'd be interesting to see how long this takes before I'm actually decent at it, or acceptable even. Okay, I hope that was of interest to some, and that you found some edification in these hissing thoughts on sniping. Alrighty. Chirp.
Team deathmatch.
Target down.
Let's go.
Tied for the lead.
Keep back.
Lost the lead.
I went to see the arcade fire, and I nearly wound up dying. In the rocket, my spirit was hopping, and there was no way of stopping them. And their hands, and their feet, and that band was amazing. Their sweet little tunes, and their beats, and their hooks were amazing. I've never felt anything like this. I'm crushed, but I'm not distressed. 12 people acting like a 12,000 acting like they own them. They want sound rattles through my ribcage. Feed me like a beast that's melted. I've never felt anything like this. I'm crushed, but I'm not distressed. I've never felt anything like this. I'm crushed, but I'm not distressed. Hey, what a sound rattles through my ribcage. Feed me like a beast that's
FRC is coming.
hey, what a sound rattles through my ribcage. Feed me like a beast that's been tamed. This ruins everything that follows. This ruins everything that follows. This ruins everything that follows. This ruins everything.